Hi, Billy.
Hi, how you doing, Lola?
Good. It's been a while.
It has been a while. So welcome back to the Liberal Lounge with Billy and Lola.
Hi, Lola.
So today we want to talk about the administration's travel policies and how that might have led to a decline in visitation in Las Vegas. Because as of April 2025, I know that we're a little past that, Las Vegas experienced its fourth consecutive month of visitation decline, with a 5.1 year-over-year decrease. The city saw approximately 3.3 visitors, 180,000 fewer than April of 2024, and it seems to continue. In May, it also had a decline. So, tell me what you think about that, and how you think that that decline has something to do with Trump's policy.
Well, 7 months ago, I was working at an attraction on the Strip,
Yep.
and I did a lot of research on international travel here. I could, at that point, tell you, which countries visited Vegas during which month. And I'm telling you, they're not visiting Vegas anymore. They're not visiting Vegas. If you were stopped at an airport to get into the country and detained for any reason, your phone taken, would you want to travel to the US? Especially Canadians. Canadians had a, what was it, a 24% decrease in incoming flights to Vegas. Just, I think it was February or March where I saw that figure. And I've heard that the real estate market is being affected by it as well. It's not just the tourism industry, hospitality.
It's everything, and I think Vegas is experiencing a few different issues. I think that they've alienated themselves from the locals. Having these high resort fees, having the parking. I know that they give locals a certain amount that's free, but I just heard that they were trying to figure out how to do staycation. Right. And the number one thing that I said to my husband was, well, if they offer locals no resort fees, no parking, no fee for parking, and give some drastic discount on the room, maybe then locals would consider that. But they've alienated us so much. And then the driving market isn't coming in what it is because you have high tariffs. You have people that are worried about budget, so they're not spending the money. They don't even want to drive here and pay for the gas to come here. So you're not getting that. Vegas always relied on that. And now if they can't rely on the international market coming in because of Trump's policy, and you can't rely on the locals because of the Strip's policy.
The treatment.
and then you have the driver market that is the other thing that they rely on because of tariffs and trade wars and all kinds of things like that. Trump has put us in this horrible situation.
Exactly. California is probably one of the hardest hit states because of the port industry, the agriculture industry, the tourism industry, because they had the fires. Like, there are so many things that are affecting the Californians from coming to Vegas. That's the drive market. That's Vegas's drive market. So, we're very interested in hearing. I did get a comment, or I read a comment online that downtown is doing well, like the Fremont Strip area. Now, I know that during NFR, the rodeo and NASCAR events and events like that, the Strip does really, really well. So I'm wondering if there are some consistencies between the target demographic that comes to Vegas and stays downtown. So I don't know. That's just a question that's in my mind.
How sustainable is Las Vegas, the reliance on convention traffic to offset the declines of the general tourism? Should the city focus on more diversity in its tourism base?
I think that's a great question. I'm personally in a trade show industry business right now. Everybody keeps talking about how the summer is very slow, and it is very slow for us right now, but we had a very, very busy first quarter. So I think that the corporations have to book their conventions a year, sometimes 2 years ahead of time, and they're kind of committed or they lose their money. So I think that's why we're going to see a slower attrition in that industry if policies such as this administration, do keep up through 2026, we're definitely going to see in 2027 a decline.
And that's scary because Vegas, I always, when I've talked about this, I'm not in that field now. Like I don't work in a field that is reliant on Vegas traffic necessarily.
Right.
I still work in the entertainment field, but my entertainment now crosses over multiple cities, not just Vegas. So I'm fortunate that I get to see the trends going on in different places. But it was always that you had the convention crowd that helped fill your rooms Sunday through Thursday, and then you had your FIT, your independent traveler market, drive-in, international, things like that would come in that Friday through Sunday.
Right.
And now we don't have either one of those that we can rely on. You still have like you said, you still have these conventions that were pre-booked, right. So we're going to see that. But when it comes to independent traveler market, drive-in, international, things like that would come in that Friday through Sunday. Right. And now we don't have either one of those that we can rely on. You still have like you said, you still have these conventions that were pre-booked, right. So we're going to see that. But when it comes to any kind of ancillary kind of entertainment, when it comes to the shows and some of the restaurants, they don't get as much from the conventions because a lot of that's pre-booked. Inside of that, their nights are already set, so they're not getting that. So that wasn't always big for the entertainment. So it's really going to be interesting. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but Vegas has turned into such a sports town. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the sports are going to be enough of a driving force to bring the numbers in the way that they were prior to that.
I think that Vegas is going to have to, as a community, develop really big anchor events such as the F1. The Super Bowl was here. We've had the NHL awards many years in a row. I don't think we had it this past year, but there's things that they're going to have to attract to Vegas to keep everybody working and to keep everybody happy.
And I agree with you. I feel like they also need to figure out how to make it friendly to the locals. And there's a balance there. Because as we know, as any local knows, F1 was not great for us. Like the locals hated it.
Not for the locals.
It tore up the streets. If you were in any kind of hospitality field, you were not making what you wanted to make out of that. And it just makes it really, really difficult. Sorry.
Yes, definitely. And I think we were talking about entertainment, and my concern is for the smaller shows. If you're not a Lady Gaga or a Bruno Mars, who are coming to your show? As far as the local buy-in, there are a lot of perks for locals, but there's also, if shows close because they're not making enough money to keep them open, then there's nothing for the locals to go do. I think it was during the housing dip about 2009, 2010. I think Stations Casinos did a really big We Love Our Locals campaign.
And that is
I 100% expect them to start doing the locals campaigns. I'm seeing ads on TV for casinos that I've never seen TV commercials for.
Yeah.
Here in Vegas, not just the Yamavas, the drug market ones, but.
And while we're talking about this, I have to give a special little bit of love to my concierge community.
Yeah.
Because they are being hit really hard right now. Most of Caesars eliminated concierge years ago, like right before the pandemic, and they haven't brought them back.
Yeah.
MGM Resorts just made a big change, and they eliminated most of their properties except for 3, the Cosmo, Bellagio, and Aria.
The higher end ones.
Yeah, I just heard something this morning, the Venetian might be downsizing theirs. So
these are like locals that are, have jobs or had jobs, and the policies that are, the visitation being lower is affecting drastic changes in the hospitality.
It feels like consumer confidence of flying has gone down because of so many plane crashes and what those did to the air traffic controllers and everything like that. So with people not wanting to fly, which would be more of a domestic kind of clientele, we know that international is down, and we know in general visitation is down. How much do you think that is affecting? Because I know I'm doing some traveling for work, and I think about that every time. I'm flying out of Vegas to go to Reno or Utah, and I'm like, ooh, I know it's not one of the big ones, but is it, are my air traffic controllers not navigating the traffic very well, and am I going to be a statistic soon?
You know what? I've never been a nervous flyer, and I've flown twice in the past 6 months. And the last flight that I was on, it dawned on me that I was now flying during the Trump administration, post Doge days. So, yeah, I do think that people are budgeting their money differently. I think that if your vacation didn't already have a major deposit down on it, you're probably canceling it. I just canceled the cruise to Mexico for later in this fall. I am just not confident about traveling to another country right now or trying to get back in.
Yeah, that's the
Even
other
with my
part.
passport, and every U.S. citizen, in my belief, should be getting their U.S. passport ASAP.
Please make sure that you like and subscribe and follow us. We're going to try to give you as much content as we can, and we're listening to your feedback. So thank you.
All right. Bye.